Hello again.
Hello again. This is a message for conservatives who do not go to church. You should go to church every week. You should go to your closest church. You should dress in some of your nicest clothes. It doesn't matter if you believe in God or if you're an atheist. It doesn't matter if you've ever been to church before. You should just go. It doesn't matter if you disagree with the sermons or the teachings, or if you don't know anyone there. You don't have to participate. You don't have to sing the hymns if you don't want to, although I think you probably should sing the hymns as well if you can. If you don't want to pray or sing or even listen to the sermon, you can just read the Bible. There's lots of Bibles in church. You can just read a book. You can look at your phone if you really have to. But I think the most important thing is just having the habit, going to a physical church building every week, and one that is in your community. I suggest going to the closest church to you, regardless of what they teach or what they believe or what you believe. If you don't go to church, you probably don't have a very strong opinion either way, regardless, so you may as well just go to the closest one. Say hello to the people there or to the greeter on the door that most churches have. Say hello to the vicar when you're leaving, or the priest, or whatever you have at the closest church to you. You don't have to say anything more than just hello. You don't have to pretend to believe in God. If they ask you what you're doing there, just say that you wanted to try it. If you want to tell them that you're not a Christian or that you don't believe in God, just say that. They really won't mind. They're not going to look at you strangely or ask you to leave or pry into anything that you don't want to share. They're just asking because they're curious. They're not going to be scandalized by the fact that you're an atheist or that you haven't been to church in years. You don't have to take communion. You can just go up and get a blessing in the Church of England. I believe there's a similar thing offered in most churches for people who don't take communion. You can just get a blessing, even if you don't believe in blessings. Just go and get a blessing. Nothing weird will happen. It'll just be fine. Nobody is going to think that it's weird that you're there, or that you're taking communion, or that you're not taking communion. It was really only a few generations ago that everyone went to church. Every Sunday. It was just something that all families did together. And the people who went to church didn't necessarily have much of a relationship with their religion beyond the fact that they physically went to church every week. They probably didn't think too hard about it. They didn't pray very often or read the Bible or sing hymns in their spare time. They probably didn't discuss their religion with other people outside of church that much. It was just the thing that people did, was just to go to church on a Sunday morning, or if they were working on a Sunday morning, they might go on Sunday evening. But they would certainly go every week, probably on a Sunday. And even if they fell asleep during the sermons, or if they let their mind wander, or they didn't really care about the service at all, it was still I believe the moral centre of life in Britain was the weekly church service, where people went to think about the things they'd done wrong that week, or to think about how they could be doing better to serve one another better. It's something in the week that is not like anything else that you do in a week. It's a part of your week where you're not going to work, you're not going to have fun, you're just there to try to become a better person for just an hour or an hour and a half. These days, there is no end to the number of people who are complaining about the decline in moral standards and the decline in community in the modern world, and yet these people who complain about these things won't go to church just because they don't believe in the teachings of the church, or because they think that the church has lost its way and is no longer teaching traditional morality and is just as corrupt as any other modern organisation. And to that I'm very sympathetic, but honestly at this point I think it is the best thing that we have. It's really all we've got left. All of the beautiful buildings, the beautiful songs, the words of all of the wisdom that you can learn from the Bible, they're all still there. There are still organisations running these services every week. And even if what they are teaching is not things that you agree with, it is certainly the closest thing you can get in modern society to that tradition of church-going Christian morality. If you're wringing your hands in despair, thinking that there's nothing that can be done, or that the positive change within the current system is impossible, and I think you're a little bit of a hypocrite if you don't spend an hour or 2 hours every week just getting up, getting dressed, and going to your closest church to spend an hour thinking about what it means to be a good person, and trying to uphold that institution that was once so important to people's lives. Hello.
Hello.
Are you going to be in the video?
Yeah.
Going to church is really the best way that I have found to get in touch with people of my community, of my village. Everyone knows me now. After going to church for about 6 months, everyone knew my name. They knew my daughter's name. They knew where I lived. When my latest baby was born a few months ago, people bought me presents and made me cakes to help with the breastfeeding. And people I thought who I barely knew, who I would never describe as my friend, were just so supportive and welcoming, all because I had just gone to a church service every week for the last year. And it's possible that I have an unrealistic expectation of what churches all over the country are like, because I happen to live in a village that perhaps has a higher than average level of community cohesion and more events than usual. But I'm willing to bet that if you go to your local church, there will be local people there who live near you, who you maybe don't want to be friends with, but would like to have a smiling and nodding kind of relationship with when you pass them on the street. Like, wouldn't you like to know more faces of the people who live near you, even if you don't know anything else about them? It's all old people. The only people who go to church are old people now, and there's obviously exceptions to that rule. You do find younger churches or churches that have children and families going, but mostly when I go to other churches and to my own church, it's just there's really only a handful of people there who are under the age of 50. And as morbid as it is to say, it does make me wonder, in 40 or 50 years, are there just going to be literally no one in these churches anymore? This Sunday, it's just going to be, no service, no people, just an empty church there as a historical monument that will eventually be torn down to put something else up. So even though I'm not really a Christian in what might be the usual sense of the word, that idea is quite disturbing to me, very sad, the idea that we just won't have anyone going to church anymore in 50 years. Within my lifetime, that these buildings will just be empty on Sundays, and they may not even exist, looking further into the future. I think that's very sad, and I'd like to see more young people going to church so that there will be churchgoers in 50 years' time. And that's really all I wanted to say. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Come watch Women's Hour on Friday at 9. Thank you, bye-bye.